Hi, how you doing? So thanks for joining me for another video. In this video, I want to talk to you about something really important, okay? Again, and this is about the nature of the phenomenon. I want to share a couple of anecdotes with you of recent experiences of the last couple of days, which might give you an indication as to what the nature of the phenomenon is, okay? So, but again, I don't have all the answers, okay? There are questions that I still have about all this that I can't answer, but I do know some things with, again, a good degree of certainty, okay? So a couple of days ago, it was the middle of the night and I was awake, but sort of in that space, not, well, actually, no, I was pretty awake, okay? I was lying down and I had been asleep previously, but I was awake at that point. And I heard, which is familiar to me, the sound of, how can I say it, like energy, or like the sound of a craft or something above me, like an energy above me, okay? That's, it gave off like there's a sound it produces and a feeling, it's a sensation, and above my ceiling, or coming from my ceiling. And that normally indicates to me that one or two things is happening. Either I'm being visited, and that happens to me every day, okay, in some way or another, or I'm being attacked with a DW, okay? And so, because as some of you may or may not know, I am a target, okay? So anyway, I was lying down and I heard a noise coming from the ceiling, and I thought, oh gosh, here we go again. And because intuitively I knew pretty quickly that this was going to be a visit from them, okay? Because of the energy that they give off. They give off a very strong, they there's an energy about them that's very unique to them, okay? So if you're around them, if you're around like a grey, or like a grey, let's just go with greys, okay? So if you a grey's in your presence, you'll know, okay? Like, they give off a certain energy, okay? And again, I can't tell you exactly what that energy is. I have an idea it could be something like EMF or something like that, okay? But again, they give off a very unique energy, and they come in with a unique energy, I think is more appropriate to say. So again, I was lying here, this energy was above me, and I thought, oh, here we go. And then all of a sudden, I felt something land on top of me, okay? So not a physical entity, but a non-physical being, and I felt something, and I had my eyes open, obviously, and then into my third eye, I saw like almost like, you have like a dew, like a drop of rain, and you see something come into, like, you like look at something through like a drop of water or a drop of rain, and it has that sort of effect where it's sort of like a like a concave, like that sort of, it's not quite like a flat image, it's sort of, anyway, looked a bit like that. And so it sort of dropped into my third eye, and this grey appeared, like I said, again into my third eye, okay? And then for some of you again who don't know, like I said, I have ESP experiences, and I'm a channel, and so I get these things quite often. And so it dropped into my third eye, came left for like a couple of seconds and then dropped back in, and then all of a sudden I felt my throat chakra like opening, okay? And intuitively I knew that it was trying to get me to channel it. It was trying to force me, I say force, obviously it felt like it was being forced, okay? But I refused to, like I said, no, I don't, like, you're not doing it, because like I felt like it was trying to get me to like trance channel. And to be honest with you, a being coming in the middle of the night, dropping in and trying to hijack your body so it can use you to, I mean, is like, and especially given the nature of this situation, is not advisable, okay? Don't get me wrong, trance channeling, like Jane Roberts, for example, Seth's teachings, and I channel it. I do channel, okay, but giving myself over to these entities in that sense, like in a more complete way, like, you know, going into that sort of territory, because that's what it felt like. I felt like it wanted to occupy my body, like it wanted to use me as a host, like it wanted to use take control of my like physical sorry, my cats are running around. Take control of my body so it could use it as a vehicle for expression. Okay. And so again, I've got nothing against that if it's something that I trust, but unfortunately, like I said, given my interactions with these beings, I don't. Okay. And so anyway, it was weird because, and I felt my guides around me, I felt someone around me. Sorry, my cat is doing zoomies. I felt my guides around me, or someone like trying to sort of protect me, or like looking out for me as this was happening, which was really I was really grateful for that. But again, what is this saying? Okay, as I've said before, and as my experiences have shown time and time again, and I have these experiences on a daily basis, is that these beings are non-physical entities. Okay, that is my belief, that they are not physical beings. I know that there's a lot of talk about bodies, you know, non-human biologics and things like that, but I have not seen any evidence that they are physical beings. Again, I'm happy to be wrong, and that's, I don't want to put more on it than that, okay? Because again, I'm open to being wrong, okay? And I think there's a liminal space, or not liminal, there's a space here where truthfully the line between physical and non-physical can be blurred to such a point where they can affect, do the things that some people have said, okay, but yet still be essentially of a non-physical nature, okay? They can affect they can affect us physically, through our consciousness, because they have certain insights and abilities, but also because, again, really, essentially, the line between the physical and the non-physical, you know, once you have certain insights into how things work and how, you know, the illusion of matter, you can affect things like genes, you can affect things like you know, cognition, you can affect all these things, and there are people on this planet who know that, and they use it as part of techniques and programs and things like that, okay, as I know firsthand. And so anyway, so today, so fast forward to earlier, okay, this earlier tonight. So earlier tonight, I woke up and I could see to my left, just out of the corner of my eye, I could see a Nordic, okay? I could see a being with long, really long platinum blonde hair, okay? Dressed in black, which they do, okay? They don't look like they show you on Gaia, or, you know, on, you know, other places. They're not wearing blue, you know, spacesuits, and they're not, do you know what I mean? They don't look like that, okay? They look like, you know, they look like they're from medieval times, and they look like some sort of character from Lord of the Rings, okay, or from Game of Thrones, and they have really long really long blonde hair from what I've seen, okay. So I saw one, and it was next to a grey, okay, but I say next to, and it's like they were sort of one and the same, almost, okay, one and the same. And they said to me at that time, we know that you think that we're one with the same, okay, that we're part of the same consciousness, which I do think. I think they're part of the same hive mind, okay. And they said that, they showed that, so they showed the two of them merging, okay. And then I also saw then to my right another grey, okay, and all these beings dressed in black, okay. And this is something I'm going to come on to at another time, because there's a link with this and historical, and you know, can put this in a historical context, okay. But to my right then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw another tall grey, whatever you want to call it, mantid, whatever you want to call it, okay. And so I saw, but again, non-physical, Okay, non-physical, not visible with the naked eye, but I could see it in my third eye. Okay, and again, there's this feeling of me being blocked in. Okay, like it's in them trying to like, which they do. Okay, them trying to manipulate and intimidate, and because they know that through experience and what I've been shown, and through grace, and through other things that I've like basically figured out, a lot like some of the aspects of this dynamics of this situation. Okay, and this is why there's like a big attempt to try and shut me up. Okay, or like discredit me, or just like sabotage like my day. I spend, again, this isn't about me, but I guess I'm just what I want to just show is just like there is a huge machine that operates against information disclosure. Okay, for lots of reasons I've been going through into on X, okay, and on my podcast as well. Okay, and on YouTube videos, you want to check those out. Okay, there is a huge information suppression machine. Okay, many people have gone under the wheels of this information suppression machine over time. It's in the news at the moment. All the people, a lot of people who've been murdered or disappeared. Again, this is all part of that, and it's part of the global network. It's nothing to do. People are looking to the United States government. You're not going to get answers there. Okay, this is a global issue. This is to do with the Epstein, the network with which Jeffrey Epstein was associated. Okay, and that's what it's to do with. You're not going to get answers from the surface United States government, so to speak. Okay, or any other government for that matter. This is a deep state issue. Okay, that you're not going to get anything from them. I mean, because again, the mind control aspect and other aspects is so strong, such a strong, so robust and so strong that again, perception management is like a full-time job for some, not only individuals on this planet, but it's also these beings. They're part of it, and this is what AI proliferation is bringing to us. It's bringing to us some benefits. There is the potential for us to use AI in a really beneficial way, and everything serves, okay, in some way or another. All right, and that's the truth. And nobody is, again, as I've said, I don't blame people, okay, for what they're doing. I know that a lot of these people are trapped, okay, they are trapped in this network, and it is a humanitarian issue. But, okay, but these beings use AI, they use the programs that have been developed, okay, because we're so curious about consciousness. We're so curious. We want to know. We want to know the truth about reality. We want to know. We want hope. We want insight. We want intelligence. And a lot of people who can, obviously you think, oh yeah, of course they work in the intelligence community or the military. Of course they want insight and intelligence. It's like, but how can I say it? Not like it's not like I'm talking about programming here. It's more about conditioning, like a mentality, but at the same time, it's a human rights issue. Okay. A lot of people, you go into things with a very earnest mindset a lot of the time, and you want to make a difference, and you want to do, you want to try to make the best of your life and things like that. And like I said, a lot of people, I think by the time they get to a certain level in their roles, I think that the doors are already being locked behind them. Okay, and leaving that situation is very, very difficult. Okay, you can't get to a certain point with this and have certain levels of insight without basically risking reprisals in some way, if you decide to leave. Okay, sorry, forgive me. So you can't do it. Okay, and I've seen that. I felt it from people and their stories. The way that people act in my situation has shown me that there is basically, people put in degrading situations to achieve certain ends. And um and of course, sorry, my cat. And of course, the same for myself. I mean, every day, like I said, it's like I have to walk through a minefield every single day. And it's been like that for me for some time now. And so as a result, but again, it's not about me. This is a human rights issue. And these people are trapped, and we've got to look at it that way, okay? And there's also the aspect of the phenomenon itself, conditioning people subliminally, using mind control, using trauma to access people's minds, to influence them. A lot of people are being indoctrinated over the course of their lives to think certain ways about themselves, to hold lies as truth, okay, about reality and who they are. And this is monopolized, okay, to the advantage of these beings, who want you to think that they are like gods and the arbiters of reality, and they're not, okay? They don't pull the strings. God is real, and we do transcend this reality, okay? We're not trapped. What traps us, if anything, is our thoughts and our beliefs, and in certain dynamics of consciousness in that sense. But even then, it's not, because it serves. Okay, it's all about mindset with this, okay? That's one of the big things that I've learned. It's how you look at the perspective. And again, this is understood by certain people on this planet, that perspective, like perception matters. The way you perceive something is how, is important, okay? And so, but ultimately, you're not trapped, okay? They want you to think you're trapped. And that's the trick of the mind. That is that believing that you're trapped gives them the fear that they want, the control, the power that they're seeking, okay? And again, you're not. So, and if you can make that like simple switch from helplessness into thinking, oh, actually no, this is rubbish. Why should I feel like trapped? But I mean, these, who are you? Like, again, this is my sort of anti-authoritarian streak, which is like 10 miles wide. But it's just because, like, again, I've just seen a side of things which has shown me that fundamentally, what I think anyway, and I know it's more complex than that, but fundamentally our systems are very, very wounded, okay? And we must start to look at things more through a consciousness-based humanitarian perspective, okay? Looking at people as humanizing things as much as possible. Anyway, I've sort of digressed a bit here. And the thing is, my point is about the phenomenon non-human intelligence is that, again, and this is obviously me speaking anecdotally, I can't say for sure that there are no non-human biologics, whatever they will, bodies on this planet. I can't say that, okay? But what I can say is that I have not seen any evidence whatsoever of physical entities and greys on this planet. I have seen craft, I have seen light shows, orbs, all kinds of things. I've had experiences. I've had abduction experiences on the near abduction experiences on the astral plane. I've had interactions with beings on the astral plane. I have had the mimicking family members and all sorts of things. So I've had a lot of experiences over the last few years with them. Okay, so I'm not. This is not my first encounter with these beings. Okay, I've had many different types of experience, and not once have I had a physical encounter with one of them. We're talking about consciousness, okay? We're talking about consciousness here, okay? This is why the UAP issue is so abstract to a lot of people, is because information about consciousness and the nature of reality has been suppressed for a long, long time, okay? It started out with divination and secret societies, okay? And because these beings operate in a realm that's parallel to ours, when you start channeling or you start opening up psychically or through consciousness, you encounter these beings. You're likely to encounter them, okay? Basically, as how can I say it? Like, as you start opening up, they're going to try and come in, possibly, okay? And a lot of people report this, okay? They'll say, oh yeah, oh gosh, you got to be careful, okay, what you're doing. But they'll come in, and they'll come in because, again, their reality sort of is parallel to ours, okay? And there's a lot more to that I want to go into in a different point, ideas that I have about this, okay? An experience. But so their reality is parallel to ours. But that doesn't mean that it's a ceiling, okay? That doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't mean it's a ceiling. It's not even their reality. It's more like the strata that they operate on. I'll give you an example of what, I'll give you some sort of like a reason why I think that. So a year, I think it was like last year, I had a vision, and I was sat on a roof. I was on an astral plane. I think I was astral travel, like it was like some sort of astral projection, I think I was doing. And I was sat on a roof, and this flying saucer like came right over me, right overhead. And I looked at it and thought, oh yeah, this is so normal. Like, not, it didn't scare me at all. I actually looked at it and I thought, oh cool, hi, how are you doing? Like, as if it was completely normal. Completely normal. Okay. And I think what I'm trying to say is that I think on some level of this I think that there is like a level where that this is pretty normal, but it doesn't mean that they actually own that level per se. Or it may be that they can jump into that level. They probably can, to be honest, and then flip and then come back down. What seems to also be the case is that there's some sort of like observation deck level around us where our unconscious also operates, okay? And I've seen that. And again, I'm going to go into that another time. But I've spoken about it on X, okay? And I've seen doppelgangers of us in this shadow reality where these beings also operate, okay? But I've also seen human souls come down into that space to like observe or interact with us, okay? To communicate sometimes with humans. Okay, so it seems like there is some sort of, like I said, some sort of shadow dimension. Shadow, I say, because when beings appear to me from that place, they're covered in, I don't know, like they're occluded in some way by some sort of shadow. Okay, and so so I've seen different types of activities in that dimension, but it's right next to us, okay? And it's got very linked to our consciousness. It's very linked to the unconscious mind, okay? Very linked to it. And again, this is something I'm thinking about quite closely at the moment as to what this could mean. Like, again, I don't have all the answers, but I have some ideas and about what this could represent. The bottom line is, as far as I can see, the phenomenon is not physical, okay? It isn't. They are what people call interdimensional beings, whatever. They are like entities. They're non-physical entities, okay? And they use people who have their consciousness opened up through trauma, through other means, or perhaps they just open up naturally, whatever. People who have those things are vulnerable to them, okay, but they're used as conduits to control messaging. This is how they communicate. They communicate via ESP, telepathy. They communicate via consciousness. And if you start to become conscious, they want to be able to be part of that. They want to be able to manage you, okay? They want to be able to like gatekeep you to an extent, okay? And I've experienced that. But I've also experienced, this is the good news, I've also experienced transcendence, okay, of that. And that happened a few months ago. And I had like a really cool experience where I sort of like ascended quite, I don't know where, but I sort of ascended through my consciousness to like quite a beautiful place, like really, and I felt really close to God, and sort of saw things from a different perspective, like looking down, or like as if it's fine, this is just you know, it's just a ride, as Bill Hicks said, not to worry about. I kind of saw things for what they were, okay? And that's the other thing, by the way, is that I've seen these beings from a post-death state vantage point, so to speak, and I've seen what they do, and I've seen, like, again, how they sort of are around, they're everywhere, okay? But people can't perceive them, okay? So I've seen that. And then, so, but yeah, so I saw ascend to that point, okay, through, again, this is all about grace. This is about grace and love, okay? This isn't about me showboating or anything. You know, I've been, every day, I strive really hard. You know, my connection to God and to spirit, like, has given me so much healing and so much hope. And this is why I sort of keen to share with people about these things. I mean, people don't have to listen to what I have to say, but again, like I said, my connection to God and to the non-physical has been my saving grace throughout all this, because I have been through a heck of a lot of trauma, okay? Anyway, so I ascended to that point, and then I was sort of like reflecting on Earth and the whole thing, and I saw it for what it was, for, like, you know, just thought, okay, it's fine, you know, we're playing roles, it's, you know, we switch it up when we pass on. That's dreaming, that's what happens. And then I sort of came back down to earth, so to speak, buzzing because when you get to that sort of point, like, you're just like humming with love. It's so beautiful, and so healing. Anyway, and so, but then I had a vision, and I saw myself and these two beings, the tall greys. They were outside my window, and they were watching me, and I saw myself like walking through the sky like Mary Poppins, and they were watching me ascend through the sky, like, again, like, you know, like, I don't know if you see Mary Poppins. I don't know if I was, well, anyway, basically I may as well have had like an umbrella, like, or some sort of, you know, but anyway, but I was ascending, and it's like I heard some beings speaking to me at that point. They said, oh, well done, Saray, you did it, you know, that sort of thing, okay? And they were saying, you know, basically, like, you've like, they can't really, they know that they know that they've broken their hold on you, in that sense, as suppose, like, in the sense of, like, you're not intimidated, but you don't think they're the be all end all, okay, of reality, like, you're not like, you've seen beyond, past the illusion, okay? Again, not here to aggrandize or anything. I'm just here to share with you, because I hope that this can sort of give some answers, because we're not going to get them from anywhere else anytime soon. I can tell you this. And again, this has not been a ride for me, okay? An easy ride. Every day I go through immense suffering over this, okay? So I'm just, again, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but again, I hope this is not a jolly for me, okay? I'm sharing this with you because again, out of love, and also because, like I said, this is my role. This is what I'm here to, this is what I can do. I have to do something with what I've been given, because I don't see, we got to do it ourselves. We've got to go through our consciousness and find these things for ourselves, okay? It's not going to come from our institutions anytime soon. It's not, okay? You've got to try and do it yourself, but do it with the discernment, you know, use your consciousness, you know, join, try and find like-minded people to do it with as well, I recommend, okay? You know, don't do it alone, because you risk your safety, because people who seem to get close to unlocking something on this planet, that, you know, it's like almost like something comes, a shutter comes down over them, okay? I'll just show one more thing about that situation that I had a few months ago, where, you know, I saw that Mary Poppins moment, and then a few like about 10 minutes later, I was elsewhere in my home, and I think I was washing the dishes, and I was sort of mulling it over, and I was thinking, you know, I was feeling bad, because I wish I could share this with them, but at the same time, I know that everything serves on this planet, okay? So not everybody's meant to wake up. Not everybody's meant to do these things, okay? And so, anyway, never mind. But I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, oh gosh, you know, like, I felt bad, like, I feel like, you know, I want to bring people with me, like, oh wow, I wish people knew about this, as you do, okay? This is natural to think that, okay? And then I was feeling a bit guilty, or just feeling not sure what to think about it all, and then and I heard my aunt in spirit and she said, and this is very her, very, very, very her. And she said, you should say goodbye, Earth School. That's what you should say. Like she was very like, do you know what I mean? Sod it. Do you know what I mean? Just say, just be glad you're done with it. Don't worry about it. Do you know what I mean? Just take it, take the win. Obviously she didn't really mean it like that. She didn't really mean like that's the end of that, so to speak. But she's been a source of great strength to me, and encouragement since she transitioned. But the point is that she didn't mean what she didn't mean there. Okay, what she didn't mean is that that I'm so, like, I've gone beyond the realms of humanity and that I'm no longer a human being and sod earth and that sort of thing. She didn't mean that. Okay, what she meant was that you'd seen. What she meant was that experience was, again, like, what I saw then was that this is some sort of experience and learning opportunity for us. Okay, that's what she was saying. Like, that's the real meaning of that. Okay, she was saying, like, you've seen what you did there. So what she said was, what you did there by having that experience of wandering off, what you did there, you saw what this for what it is. Okay, you saw this experience for what it is. Okay, that's what she was saying. Okay, so it wasn't like she was saying, oh, well done, you're top of the class sort of thing. She just said, like, okay, you saw it for what you do, you did it. It's not even me doing it, because I've had so much inspiration and so much like grace and so much support, like I said, and encouragement, which I'm incredibly grateful for, and along the way, and just insights from other people that have helped me sort of. Again, this isn't about like self-patting on the back. This is about trying to show you something, hopefully, that might be useful to you, okay, about the nature of this. This is about consciousness, okay? Consciousness is the key to this. Understanding the UAP, NHI, onto the nature of all of this stuff, okay, consciousness is the key. All right. Again, you might not get all the answers about the technology side of things. Okay, it might not be that that's the case, but I can certainly tell you something, that hybridization is real, but it's not quite what you think it is. Okay, as far as I can see. All right, I believe that hybridization, as per my experience, okay, of being a test subject of some kind in that sense, is that it's more to do with AI. Okay, it's more to do with AI AI hybridization, symbiosis, in that sense. Okay, and because these beings are non-physical, if your consciousness is opened enough, they can manipulate you in that sense and use you as a host, like as a resource, like a proxy for experience. Okay, the idea is so that they can manipulate your thinking and experiences and almost harvest them for their own, harvest them, so merge with you to the point where your experience is their experience. Okay, and that's kind of how I see it. There's more to that, and I've seen other things as well, okay, as regards to other people and experimentation indications of things that have happened that are quite upsetting, okay, for other people in this network, from the point. But again, I can't tell you that 100% that there is no genetic material on this planet that is non-human. I can't tell you that. Like, I would be silly, because I've had communication with extraterrestrials, like actual extraterrestrials. Like, I've heard from them. Like, I've had communication, so I know they're real. But I tell you what, once you get to a certain point, so what you come to understand is that you don't need spaceships, okay, to travel across the universe. You can use your consciousness. Okay, that's one of the big secrets, is that you don't need like a spaceship, okay, to travel to another planet or another world. You can do it with your mind. You can do it with your astral body. Okay, this is one of the big things, like that is suppressed. There have been documents that have been declassified which indicate that there is a strong interest in these things. And there is a process, and there has been a lot of research, and they use these techniques in intelligence communities and the military, okay, to perform certain activities. But again, in terms of you know, interstellar travel, and so on and so forth, you don't need a spaceship. You don't need a spaceship to travel. Yes, okay, you might want to, you might need a spaceship. Yes, okay, granted. If you want to go and investigate other worlds and things like that, yes, of course, scientific, for scientific reasons, yes, of course, you would need to do that. But to visit another planet, okay, or another world or dimension, you can go with your mind, okay. And so so there are beings that I've interacted with who communicate via consciousness, and they visit via conscious, they interact via consciousness, because again, once you get, I say get to a certain point, it makes it sound as if you're more evolved, but it's not like that. That's not how it works, okay. It's not got nothing to do with being more evolved, all right. It's just a different experience, okay. Like it's just a different experience, okay. This whole, like, again, it's not how it's seen, okay, all right. But like I said, the key is your consciousness, okay. When like, this is why I encourage people to, again, and I've been forced down this route, okay. So again, but I've seen that freedom lies within, your within, well, literally within. I mean, that, go within, meditate, journal, chant, pray, try and look at your thoughts, because your thoughts, there is mind control operating on this planet, okay. Mind control is a real thing, okay. And so I would, again, advise people to do things like that and to see through the illusion, okay, if they can. If you're so inclined, it might be that you're, in this lifetime, you don't want to do something like that. Maybe you did it in the last lifetime. Maybe in this lifetime you're here, you just want to sit on a beach or something and drink cocktail. I don't know. Maybe you're here to do something else this lifetime. I don't know, but yeah. So I mean, do you know what I mean? And that's what it's like. That's the reality of things, okay. Well, that's how I kind of see it anyway. But anyway, so I hope this video has been useful in some way. I kind of just had to do, I know I'm sort of like this, it's the middle, I don't know, it's getting lighter now outside, but I couldn't let I couldn't sort of let this sort of sit with me without speaking about it, because it's important. And like I said, this type of disclosure is not coming from the government, okay. This is not going to come from the United States government. It isn't. There are hints about it that come out, okay. There are clues, and there are people who are trying to do things that give away, again, it's about joining some dots, okay. There are people out there, and I retweet them, a lot of these like these insights, on my X profile. So check out my X profile and just have a look through, and there are posts on there that I've reposted that will give you strong, again, will corroborate what I've said, okay. And again, these clues are being shared, but in terms of like open, candid disclosure, it may happen someday, but again, I don't see it happening until the Epstein network issue has been addressed, okay. This is one of the big it's the only roadblock to disclosure. It's the only roadblock to disclosure, okay. It's literally the only roadblock. No, it's not only, it makes it sound like it's trivial, but it's not, okay. It's a big issue for us all, okay. And I call it the Epstein network, but again, this isn't bigger, it was way bigger than Jeffrey Epstein, okay. All right. So and yeah, and again, humanitarian, compassionate, consciousness informed surfacing of the network is, again, the route I think we should be going down, because otherwise we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it, okay. Thanks for listening, and have a good day. Take care.